Before I start the podcast, I have to tell you what just happened. Or I should probably say what I just did. It is now Sunday night, 12 a.m. midnight. Okay? I have just recorded a kick-ass episode. I was completely done. I had been working on it for about 4 hours, recording and editing. And I'm sure that you can guess what I did. So I had 2 different windows open on my computer at the same time. And I was using the same program because I was editing. And I accidentally clicked the wrong window. And without thinking, like it just happened so fast, I hit yes and I closed the wrong one. I just closed my recording without saving it and it's gone. There's no way to get it back. I was like, no, because this is my luck. Okay, these kinds of things happen to me often. I don't have the greatest luck. I'm gonna be honest. I just had to get that off my chest because when it happened, I wanted to run out and punch someone in the face, but I did not do that. I was very proud of myself because I remained calm and I said a lot of curse words, but no one got hurt. And that's the most important thing, right? So let's go ahead and start the podcast for the second time today, shall we? Welcome everyone to the Bold and Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Amanda, and I've titled this week's episode, Caroline Spencer, Rest in Peace. Because this week was mainly about Caroline and her memorial, which we didn't actually get to see, but we got to see the aftermath. I do apologize for the episode being late, but you know what I always say, better late than never. So I hope you guys had a good week. Mine was super busy. I normally don't have to work on the weekends, but I actually had to work this weekend. I'll just be perfectly honest. It sucked. Alright, I'm done with my tantrum about having to work on the weekends. Let's move on. I want to tell you guys that this week, the show was preempted Thursday and Friday. We only have 3 episodes this week. So the podcast may be a little shorter than usual. So let's get into the news. I'll be honest, I don't really have a lot, but the Emmy nominations are out. And I have to say, I was surprised. We only have 3 actors that are nominated. Now, the show as a whole is nominated for or in several categories, but only 3 actors. So here's who they are. Nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress, Jacqueline McInnes Woods, who plays Steffi. Also up for Outstanding Lead Actress, Heather Tom, who plays Katie. These 2 are going head to head, so to speak, and that is such a hard decision because they're both amazing actresses. The 3rd nominee is Wayne Brady, who plays Dr. Reese, and he is up for Outstanding Guest Performance. And I really hope he wins because whether you love or hate his character, he is a good actor. The fact that people hate him just proves how good he is doing, how good of a job he is doing. Alright guys, that's all the news I have for this week. So enough with the chit chat, let's get to the recap. So that brings us into Monday, March the 18th. The show opens at Brooke's house with Ridge, Eric and Quinn, Steffi, Liam and Hope, Thomas, Taylor, Katie and Bill, Sally and Wyatt. Ridge is on the phone with Brooke, and he tells her that he needs her and he would love it if she came home. So she is desperately trying to get a flight out. Ridge then tells Katie how much he really misses Brooke and really wishes she was there. So Katie feels bad for him and she gives him a hug to comfort him. Now we go across the room. Let me say this. Everyone is in the living room. So we are going to be bouncing from convo to convo. Okay, so we're bouncing around the room. So Wyatt is telling Sally that he's very thankful for her being there for him. And it means a lot. And of course she says she wouldn't dream of being anywhere else. So then we move over to the couch with little Douglas, and he wants mac and cheese like his mom makes. So Steffi offers to try and make it, and she brings him to the kitchen. Basically, Thomas is really, really thankful to everyone for being there for him and Douglas. And it is very clear that he's still in shock over losing Caroline. So, on the other side of the room, Steffi has returned to the living room and she's talking to Liam. So, she's telling Liam that she is still planning on going to Europe and that she is positive this will help Hope. Now, this cracked me up. This is funny, okay? Remember a second ago, Steffi took Douglas to the kitchen for mac and cheese, right? Then she's over talking to Liam, okay? So now we come back from commercial and we're on the couch, okay? And he's back. So Douglas is now back on the couch and now Hope is going to make him mac and cheese. It was really weird. Hope takes his hand and takes him to the kitchen. And it was just really funny and weird because it was like a glitch or something. Or maybe they recorded Steffi's scenes already and it didn't like flow right. I don't know, but it was funny. Everyone is there for Thomas and they are all being really supportive. They all assure him that they will help him keep Caroline's memory alive for Douglas. And now that Douglas is out of the room, we learn from Thomas that it was very sudden and that himself and Douglas were not with Caroline when it happened. And it was apparently a blood clot. And that is all the details that we get. We don't really get any other details. So, poor Thomas, he feels lost and helpless. On the other side of the room, Steffi and Taylor are having a discussion, and once again, Taylor is making Steffi angry. She is starting her same song and dance again. Steffi should fight for Liam, etc., etc. And yet again, Steffi tells her that Hope is grieving, and she is not in her right mind, and drop it, okay? So then Ridge interrupts everyone's convos, right? And he wants to go around the room and have everyone say what they remember about Caroline. So that's what they do. But I was not going to sit there and write every one of them down. It's exactly what you would expect to hear at a funeral or a memorial. Everyone had very sweet things to say, and Thomas made a point to tell Bill and Ridge how important they were to Caroline. If you're new to the show, Ridge was thrown out of a helicopter by Bill, long story, and he lost his ability to draw. And Caroline helped him relearn how to design, and then they fell in love and got married. So she was kind of like a mentor to him, and he was a mentor to her. So now we're going to head into the kitchen with Hope and Douglas. Douglas is helping Hope make, you guessed it, mac and cheese. And he is so adorable. Oh my goodness. Like, he is such a good actor. Like, he's such a cute little guy. So he asked Hope what heaven is like. And of course, because he's young, he doesn't fully understand what's happened. and he's convinced that his mom is coming back. So Hope tries to explain heaven the best she can. She tells him that her daughter is also there. And it's a very sweet moment. Hope comforts Douglas because he wants his mommy. And I feel so horrible for this little boy. Unbeknownst to Hope, Taylor walks in and is watching their whole interaction. And she has a strange look on her face that I can't quite decipher. And that's how Monday ends. So that brings us into Tuesday, March the 19th. The show opens at Ridge and Brooke's house with Eric and Quinn, Pam, Thomas, Douglas, Hope, Taylor, Ridge, and Maya. Now today, we have two different groups, but everyone is mourning Caroline. So everyone has just gotten back from the memorial service, which we don't get to see. And of course, everyone is there for Thomas and Douglas. Then Thomas mentions Steffi, and Taylor gets all weird, right? And she gets up and walks out of the room. Well, she's about to walk out of the room, and Ridge catches her and he's like, hey, what's up? She basically says she's disappointed because Steffi postponed her trip and Brooke couldn't bother to do the same. Seriously? I found this interaction so odd. Since when does Taylor want Brooke around? Or even care if she's there? I don't know what's happening here. So then Ridge reminds Taylor that this is about Thomas, not herself or Brooke. Then Thomas gets everyone's attention and he once again thanks everyone for their support. Eric was especially sweet to Douglas, and everyone says, we love you, we're sorry, how it is. And everyone leaves except Taylor, Ridge, and Thomas. Hope takes Douglas with her to the cabin. So Thomas opens up to Taylor and Ridge. And we learn that Thomas and Caroline weren't together as a couple. They were co-parenting as a team, but they were not romantically involved. And I'm like, excuse me, what? This made my brain hurt. Because I was assuming this whole time that that's why they killed Caroline, to have a reason to bring Thomas and Douglas back without her. And now you're telling me they weren't even a couple anyway, and you could have just said they broke up? Like, what? Why? Okay, why? Needless to say, Taylor and Ridge were pretty shocked. So, they're talking back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And then it's decided that Thomas and Douglas will stay with Ridge and Brooke. At least for now. Now we head over to Bill's office with Wyatt, Sally, Liam, Bill, Justin, and Katie. And they just got back from the memorial service. Also, they are all saying lovely, lovely things about Caroline. And they are all really sad, especially Bill. They do agree to be there for Douglas and to keep Caroline's memory alive for him. Then they tell stories about Caroline and talk about things they remember about her. And something that I noticed is that Katie is really there for Bill. And she is really helping him get through this. They all had such sweet things to say about Caroline that it made me sad. Because I realized in that moment how much I actually really miss her character. And you know what? I hate that they killed her off. I really do. So I feel sorry for Bill. And sometimes I'm shocked that I'm saying this. But I do feel sorry for Bill. Because he has a lot of guilt about what happened with Caroline. And he never got to apologize. And, Bill is really hoping that this tragedy will bring his family back together. So maybe we'll see. Now we head out to the cabin with Hope and Douglas. And they are just having so much fun playing Go Fish. And Thomas walks in, and he is clearly happy to see Douglas playing and laughing and having fun. Now we head back to the main house with Ridge and Taylor. They are both shocked that Thomas and Caroline weren't a couple. They both just assumed they were, like everyone. Everyone assumed that. So Taylor then decides that she needs to tell Ridge about what she saw in the kitchen. So she starts to explain that she saw Hope comforting Douglas in the kitchen. And she saw a really strong connection between the two. And Ridge is like, okay, what's the point? Like, what is your point? And Taylor says, Hope needs a child and Douglas needs a mother. And Ridge just looks at her like, what? And I'm like, okay, crazy pants. And that's how Tuesday ends. Okay, so that brings us into Wednesday, March the 20th. But let me say this, my dog insists on coming in here while I'm recording. So I apologize if you hear his noises in the back because he's not happy that I'm recording right now and he's purposely breathing very loud. So I apologize if you hear that. So the show actually opens at Brooke's house, but we're going to circle back to that. We are going to start out at the cabin with Douglas, Hope, and Thomas. These three are having so much fun together playing. Hope is definitely taking their minds off of their sadness, which is a really good thing. Then Hope and Douglas do the baby shark dance for Thomas. And it was so adorable. It really was so adorable. By the way, that baby shark song gets stuck in your head and that's it. Like it's stuck and you cannot get it out. So Douglas is really excited when he finds out that he will be staying with Ridge and Brooke. Him and Thomas will be staying with Ridge and Brooke. He's really excited about it. And the reason I think that Hope and Thomas, and especially Douglas, the reason I think they're bonding so well is just because Hope understands what they're going through. And she makes it a point to tell Thomas that she will help him with Douglas in any way she can. Now we head over to Bill's office with Katie and Bill. And Bill is really struggling with his loss and his guilt. And Katie is being really supportive. And it is not going unnoticed because he thanks her for supporting him because he really needs her right now. He promises Katie that he will always be there for her and Will, that she does not have to worry about that. And then Katie tells him that he is making her remember the man she fell in love with so long ago. So then Bill tells Katie that she is a true Spencer and always will be. So, you know what? These two definitely had some chemistry between them this week. Definitely. We are still at Spencer Publications, but we are headed over to the side office. I assume is now Wyatt's office. It used to be Liam's office, but it's the other office at Spencer. And we are with Sally, Wyatt, Liam, Donna, and Justin. And they are all discussing how Bill has actually really changed lately. And how they're all very impressed. Because it's Bill, you know. And Liam, of course, is extremely skeptical. I mean, let's be honest. Bill is lucky Liam is even speaking to him at all. I mean, after what he did, you know? So, Donna brings up that she thinks Bill and Katie still have feelings for each other, which then sparks the whole conversation about who is this secret Cupid? Who is this mysterious secret Cupid? And Donna and Justin are trying to figure it out. And they're acting like they're so innocent, but I'm not buying it. And of course, they immediately blame Wyatt, who very much denies it. And of course, then they start blaming each other. And that was pretty funny. That gave everyone a laugh. So Sally thinks that she has it figured out, but she's not going to say anything. So they chit-chat a little bit, and then everyone leaves except for Wyatt and Liam. Because Wyatt wants to talk to Liam and make sure that he's okay. He just wants to check in with him. He's being a good brother. Now we are going to circle back to Brooke's house with Ridge and Taylor. Taylor, again, says to Ridge that Hope needs a child and Douglas needs a mother. And Ridge is like, whoa, okay, wow. Look, everyone will be there for Douglas, including Hope. But, you know, like, what are you saying? So then Ridge explains, you know that Hope is with Liam, right? She has her own life and her own husband. And then Taylor starts her same song and dance. As usual, she is a damn broken record. Ridge is getting a little aggravated at this point now. Okay? Because Taylor starts in on her stuff and, you know, Steffi should be with Liam, etc., etc. So now Ridge is like getting a little like agitated because he doesn't want Taylor getting involved in Hope's life. Ridge can't believe Taylor's behavior right now and the things that she's saying, they're weird. So then she actually has the nerve to tell Ridge that he needs to step up as Steffi's father. And I'm like, that is so rude, okay? He's the one who's always there for Steffi. Like, really? So, anyway, basically, Taylor wants Ridge to encourage Hope to get with Thomas and to encourage Liam to go back to Steffi. And I'm like, wow, this biatch is nuts, okay? These are people, right, who have feelings and, you know, you can't just puppet people around, you know? Like, it's not a chessboard. You can't just move your pieces how you want them. So, of course, Ridge is like, okay, let me explain this again. And he's talking to her like she just isn't following. And he says, I'm not going to promote Hope losing her husband, okay? She has lost enough. And does she get the point? Of course not. Of course not. She's not listening to a word he says, and she continues. She claims that Thomas and Hope were in love once. And I'm like, stop, hold it, wait a minute, stop. Okay, because that is not true. Thomas was in love with Hope. But Hope was not in love with him. She was still in love with Liam. Taylor has truly just lost it. And Ridge, the way Ridge is looking at her, it was cracking me up. Because he's just looking at her like, what is happening? So, he is now getting frustrated at this point. Because there's just no talking to her. Like, there's no getting through to her. So he's like, frustrated, and he rubs his forehead and he says, I can't believe, like, really, after everything I just told you, really, like, you didn't hear anything. So then Ridge puts his hands on her shoulders and he's like, look at me, Like, really look at me. This is absurd and you need to let it go. And then, of course, Taylor has a meltdown. She starts crying and saying, oh, she's so worried about Thomas and et cetera, et cetera. And then she starts to say some strange things, okay? So she says everything has just went downhill ever since she lost Ridge. And she misses what they used to have. And then she grabs his face and kisses him. And it totally catches him off guard. He was not expecting that. And so after like a second of shock, he then immediately pushes her away. And he is nice about it. But he is firm. And he says, look, okay, this is not going to happen. Nope. No. Okay? This cannot happen. And we need to put this kiss behind us forever. Okay? And then he leaves the room. Because he's over it now, right? He leaves the room. And I don't blame him. Unbeknownst to them, Brooke has arrived home. So she did get a flight after all. And she walks in and she is watching the whole thing. The whole thing. So when Ridge walks off, Brooke comes in the door and shuts the door. And at first she's really nice. And she says how sorry she is that she didn't make it in time for the memorial. And she loves Thomas and she feels horrible for him, etc., etc. And then her demeanor changes and she continues. I get it. This is what she says. I get it if you're emotional and upset. I get that. But for me to walk in and see you kissing my husband in my living room is unacceptable. Let me tell you this, Taylor. We've been down this road before and we aren't going to do it again because this is my husband. Do you understand me? Do you? And Taylor is speechless. Like, she doesn't say anything at first. She just gives her this dirty look. And that's how Wednesday ends. Okay. So let's analyze this. Let's break this down. It's time for my very biased opinions. So, first, I want to talk about Hope. Hope is bonding with Douglas. And I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. So far, it's helping both of them. So I don't see that it's hurting anything. I don't really see a problem with this yet. Possibly it could be one later, but I think it's alright for now. So let's talk about Thomas and Douglas. I feel sorry for them. I'm not sure where they're going with this storyline yet, but I hope that it does not involve Hope and Liam. I do not want a Hope and Liam and Thomas triangle. Like we just got done with a triangle, right? With Hope and Liam. Like, I don't want that. I'm not necessarily against a love triangle with Sally, Thomas, and Wyatt. I don't want Wyatt to get hurt, though. Speaking of Hope and Liam, I would like to see this tragedy bring them closer together. I think that would be interesting to watch. To watch them work through their loss together. Instead of the predictable breaking them up. Like, it's so predictable that they suffer a tragedy and then they always break up. Like, that's exactly what I'm expecting to happen. I hope not, but that's exactly what I'm expecting to happen. So now let's talk about Bill and Katie. I am still on the fence about Bill and Katie, but I do have to admit that there was some definite chemistry between these two this week. Saying that just goes to show how talented these two actors are. You know, I'll be honest. I'm on the fence, but I can feel the breeze. And they are starting to sway me. I'm starting to sway a little. I just don't want Katie to get hurt. And I'm afraid of Bill losing his mind again, like he always does, and then she gets hurt. And I don't want to see that. Last but not least, let's talk about Taylor. WTF, okay? Like, I don't even really know what to say because she's just really unstable. Okay? And poor Ridge, he was like, wow. He really tried to talk some sense into her, but she's impossible. She is completely impossible. So let me tell you guys this really quick because it cracked me up. I was watching the soap opera and we're around this part where I'm getting really agitated. And so I totally freaked my husband out last night because I just started yelling at the TV and like cursing and like it was just so funny because he walked in and he was like, what is happening? Are you okay? Like, what happened? And so I'm like, it's Taylor, okay? It's Taylor. I need at least two glasses of wine to deal with her. Like, I need help. And so he may have not thought it was that funny, but his facial expression and his reaction, it was pretty funny. So, Taylor kissing Ridge. Really? If you want Ridge, you can voice it. You could tell him. Like, you could make a case for yourself. That's fine. You know, if you want to make a play for him, fine. Kissing him, that's way over the line. And you know what? You know how Taylor absolutely hates Bill? Right? And she's always putting him down whenever she can. Well, I hate to tell her, but she is acting exactly like Bill. Okay? Bill kissed Brooke knowing that she was married to Ridge and happy with him. But he did it anyway. Taylor kissed Ridge knowing that he's married to Brooke and he's happy with her. And she did it anyway. So, like Taylor, just stop. Okay? Because I can't. I just can't. It's like she has split personality disorder or something. And I'm not making fun of people who have that. If you have that, you know, I feel horrible for you. But she has not been diagnosed with that. So I don't know what her excuse is. Now, Ridge has made it clear who he wants. Right? He wants Brooke. And, I mean, Taylor, she's just all over the place. One minute she seems normal, and the next she's spiraling out of control, and you're just like, wow. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do not blame Brooke one bit for going gangster on Taylor. I do not blame her one bit for the reaction that she had. Not at all. Let me tell you guys something right now. I don't care about what happened in the past. Okay? If I walk in to my house in my living room and someone, not even someone, my husband's ex is kissing him, believe me, okay? I'm getting gangster on their ass just like Brooke did. I will slap a bitch. Don't think I won't, because I will. And probably drag her out of my house by her hair. Okay? I can't wait to see the rest of this fight Monday. Because I saw some spoilers, and it looks like the fight gets very physical. And that does not surprise me, because when Brooke and Taylor fight, it often gets physical. If you want to see some really funny scenes, look up Brooke and Taylor fights, because there's some good ones. So that brings us to the end of the episode. I want to hear from you guys. I would love to know what you think about what is going on right now. You can get in touch with me at theboldandbeautifulpodcast.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I am still lining up some guests that will be happening soon. So we have that to look forward to also. I will be back in your ears next week. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Until next time. Bye, guys.